Hi, welcome back to Highball. This is a video in which I wanted to share with you the current project that I'm working on, which is a green overhanging route here at Highball in Norwich. And the idea is I'm going to attempt to climb it after a quick warm-up and then play back the video footage once I get home, analyze what I'm doing right and wrong, and try and figure out how I can complete it. Who knows? Maybe I'll complete it today. We'll find out. So let's take a look at the route itself. So it's on this central station here, and according to the Highball rating system, this is a 4. And as I orientate the camera so that the green route is central here, you'll see that it's composed of 12 different holds, although there are 2 of the holds that I don't end up using on my route. So let's do a little route reading. Both hands begin here at the start on this very positive jug, which is orientated to pull to the right hand side, and then that's supported by the foothold below it. And so I'm expecting the right side of my body to be towards the wall and flagging out with the other foot. Then I think my right hand needs to move up to the third hold, this deep jug, the left up to the next jug above it, which also requires a bit more of a side pull, and then right across again to the 5th hold, where we find another jug. And in fact, nearly all of the holds on this route are very positive hand holds, which is a good thing given the overhang that we'll see in a moment. The 6th hold then is another jug requiring a right side pull, although I don't use it in my route, so that suggests that there may be some missing beta here. And I also neglect to use the little nub for a foot placement, which is just above the blue volume. So it might be that I need to return to the route and find alternate solutions that might be more efficient. Then we have these 2 elongated side pulls, followed by the jug up and to the left of those holds. And this looks like it's going to need to have 2 hand matches, followed by a pop-up on the left hand for the jug. And then reaching up to the penultimate jug oriented to the right, and then the final hold, which is more parallel to the ground. And what makes this route so challenging for me is the severe overhang, or at least something that's severe from my experience at the moment. And so this route is really going to test my technique, my finger strength, and my endurance. And it is outside of my comfort zone. I'm typically climbing 3s at the moment, so this is a grade above my current climbing level. So if and when I achieve it, I'll feel a real sense of progress. So this was my first attempt at the day. I was reasonably pleased with my initial body position and the heel hook here to support me in reaching up to that left jug. But as I try and match by reaching across with my right hand, everything falls apart. And if we look more closely again at the reason why, let's pay attention to this right foot. And I am pushing against empty space on a smooth wall. It's no surprise that this peels me away, and then I don't have the finger strength to hold myself in position. And foot placement was a key theme throughout the day. In this next clip, I resolved the issue with my right foot by heel hooking as usual with my left, and then I place my right toe against the edge of this same hold, and that allows me to reach across more positively. But as you can see, I peel away from the wall, and this is because I don't engage my core. This is now several attempts later, and I am starting to make some progress. I have got much more control over these first few moves, and I've learned to engage the core during this cutaway so that I don't peel off the wall. But I do fumble about here trying to figure out the best foot placement to get back onto the wall again, and that causes some endurance fatigue, and when I come away here it's really a result of lack of finger strength. So I think at this point I'd been working the problem for about an hour and a half, and I was starting to get tired, but this is probably the best attempt of the day. And as you can see, I'm starting to flow between the moves more efficiently as my body starts to learn the route. And I'm happier with my foot placement. I'm much more positive in re-engaging after the cutaway. This reach up to the first sloper is a positive one, and I match in a way that I think is quite solid. But as I pop up to this next hold, I peel away, and I think the reason is fairly clear when we look at this close up. Look at how far out my body is from the wall, and I think this is creating a lot of gravitational force which is ripping me away. And in this last clip you'll see me attempt to address this body position by bringing a drop knee into the equation, and I think this is probably a solution that will work with a bit more practice. It doesn't get me to the top in this case, but when we compare how far away from the wall I was on the previous attempt to this attempt, I think biomechanically it's much more sound. I am much closer to the wall, and that is going to allow me to improve my reach to the next hold. But the problem comes when we look at my right foot placement here, because as I reach up to that hold, I'm peeling my right foot away from the edge of that sloper. It should have been engaged much more in the middle of the hold, and because it's on the edge here, it slips away, and that's the end of the attempt. In total, I think I spent about 2 hours on the wall that day, and I came to realise that for me a good day's climbing is not necessarily one where I've topped out a lot of routes, although that always feels nice, but one where I've come away feeling that I've learned something. And there was lots to learn from that first session working the green route. A big takeaway for me has been the importance and value of videoing climbing and then reviewing the footage, because in the heat of the moment I sometimes didn't realise why I was coming away from the wall, and it's only when I've been playing the slow motion footage or freeze framing my climbing that I can see that it's a particular foot placement or a body position that was the issue. And so if you're a new climber yourself, I'd encourage you to just take your phone along, get a friend to film or put the phone on a tripod, and then record yourself and then play it back, because it's really instructive. Finally, I'd like to give a shout out to some of the unsung heroes of the indoor climbing world, and that's the route setters, because without you guys we wouldn't have these really interesting problems to try and resolve. And I think it must be a really nuanced skill to be able to set a route which encourages a particular solution but also leaves room for creativity along the way. So thank you for everything you do on our behalf. And thank you for viewing the video. I hope the kind of content I'm sharing with you is entertaining, and if you're a newcomer to the sport like me, perhaps even instructive. If you're an experienced climber, I would imagine you were screaming at your phone or TV screen at some points, trying to give me the beta I need to complete the project. So feel free to leave comments if you think there's something that I should pay attention to. I'll be back on the wall in a couple of days and hope to have something new to share with you then. Thanks for watching.